Welcome to Studio Markku. Today we are in Tallinn and meeting the distinguished Minister of Defense, Mr. Hanno Pevkur.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for being able to come here and thank you for taking the time. I know ministers have a very tight schedule, but this is very important, this discussion. Thank you.
When it's important, then we have to find the time.
Thank you so much. I was claiming some time ago that Estonia, Finland, we had an ad in the newspapers at 6-0 when we compare Estonia's success with Finland when we're talking about the European defense project or the NATO things. And my question to you is, what is the secret of Estonia being so successful in these projects compared with Finland?
Well, first of all, I believe that we do not have to compare ourselves in that way, because at the end of the day, we are all together in this business. Doesn't matter if it's defense business or just economical affairs. We could also say that Finns are much more successful in economic affairs. So at the moment, of course, because when we go back before the Second World War, then our economies per capita were more or less the same. So right. Soviet occupation took at least 17 times away from us, because in 91, when we got back our independence, then our economy was around $1,000 per capita, and yours was that time around $17,000 per capita. So the difference was 17 times. Today it's a bit less than 2 times.
Absolutely.
So we are catching up, but nevertheless, that it's sometimes it's good to compare. But what is important that you have to have good ideas and you have to be in a way active, because when you're not saying out loud these good ideas what you have, then nobody will hear. And sometimes, I always like to say that Steve Jobs said that people do not want to, or the people can't desire something before they have not seen that. So this is why it is important to say also what you are thinking, and when these ideas are good and also are resonating to your allies, then you can find also the ways to continue.
That's a very good answer. I find that the Estonians have a certain hunger and a thrive to kind of move forwards. That you see more opportunities maybe than we in Finland today in these issues.
Well, of course, we've seen what occupation means, and we never want to fall back into these times where we were under the Soviet occupation, because under the Soviet occupation there is no freedom, no freedom of economy, no freedom of speech, no freedom of press, and that means that you are going down very fast. So this is why we said in early 90s that never alone again. That also means that we are a member of OECD, we are a member of European Union, NATO, many other international organizations, of course, starting from United Nations. So, and this is why I believe that for us it is very, very important that we keep continuing on that path, that never alone again, and we want to be also economically where you are already. So we are not satisfied with that we have passed Greece or Spain. So we want to be where you are, or maybe even better. So because as a small nation, you have to do something extra to keep your voice, heard.
Yes, absolutely. My themes are very simple: economy, and here we're talking about. I'm coming from the business side. This is my first election where I am, and I try to solve certain issues the way I've learned to do things. And one of them is cooperation. Cooperation. You have succeeded in these things. So we are here to talk about that. How could we Finns and Estonians as companies work more tightly together in order to have partnerships, have alliances in order to get these monies to our companies in our areas.
Well, again, we have to look into the history. So when we go back to early 90s, then it was mostly so that Finnish companies came to Estonia. So Neste came to Estonia, many others came to Estonia, also from Sweden, the closest allies, the closest neighbors. And you took over our businesses. Now we see also that Estonian businesses are buying Finnish businesses.
Right.
And this is exactly the way, we have to cooperate. I believe that, one of the maybe one of the biggest success stories of this cooperation is Silja Tallik, but many other companies also. And what we see is that at the end of the day, together we can achieve more. It's on the political level, and then it's also economically, because when you go global, then still we are small.
Yeah.
Even when you take Namo, which is a joint venture together with Norway,
Right.
then and many other companies. Even Nokia, you see that in the global market, you have to be aggressive. You have to be, ready for changes, because this was for Nokia phones, I believe, one of the, key questions that did they make right decisions in one moment when Apple came. So and when the smartphones came. So this is why in a way you need to have a good nose, and you have to be open, because my understanding, not only as a liberal, but also economically, I truly believe that when you're open and open-minded, then you can have more success. Because when you're very focused on your own and not ready to go up and to see what the helicopter view gives you, that maybe there is something you can take and give some added value to your own business, then this brings you success. And this means also that, when we have something here, let's say take Skype. In one moment, the Skype was the only option for telecommunications or the VTC.
Absolutely, great story.
Now we have so many different ones, because everybody saw that, okay, this is the way to continue. So many other success stories. So be open, be open-minded, and be ready for changes. So this brings the success.
Right. Very, very good points. Very good points. In Finland, the companies in the defense sector, of course, this is a very fast evolving market at the moment, and a lot of things happen. We read about the European investment bank, how they all of a sudden are prepared to finance these things, and so on. In Finland, many companies complain that the Finnish armed forces aren't so willing and open to new ideas and so on. How do you do that here in Estonia? Are you more open to new ideas and new technologies?
Well, yes and no, I would say, because of course, my approach has always been that as a small country, you have to be better trained as your enemy. You have to have better equipment as your enemy, and you have to be quicker as your enemy. So this, and then you have to reach for a longer distance as your enemy. So these are like the principles where you can see that you can gain some success.
Right.
Now, to achieve that, you have to understand that it's not always easy to enter to the defense forces, because in defense, mostly you are buying equipment which will be in service for 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50 years. When you take the ships, these will be in service for 40, 50 years. When you take the howitzers or tanks, these will be in service for 20, 30 years. We see at the moment on the battleground in Ukraine, tanks from 60s. So this means that this is already 60 years back. So this is why it is so difficult to enter to defense forces. And I believe that also for defense forces, because we both have conscript service. Conscription means that you need to train the people. They will go to the reserve, and when they come back from the reserve, they need to be able to use what they've been taught.
Right.
So that means that when you teach someone how Carl Gustav works, or K9 howitzer, then this is the weapon system they are using also if necessary.
Right.
So this is why it is not so easy to enter the defense forces. But my message to the defense forces has always been that we have to be flexible and we have to be open. And now as we have just established a new defense investment fund, then this defense investment fund means also that the risk capitalist or the angel investors will invest also some money into that. So they want to see also the results. And my message to the defense forces has always been that, okay, we need to take these products, we need to see whether they are good or not, and also give honest feedback. When something is not working, you have to say to the company.
Right.
And when something is working, then let's see how we can bring that to our weapon systems. So it's a long process, but I believe that as militaries are evolving also, then it will be possible for them also to be more flexible.
Yeah. No, that's I think the good answer. Good answer. We see that there are as you named, the K9 howitzers and so on, which will be there for decades in service. But then, of course, we have this, as we call it, non-symmetrical war, where we have, let's say, I think Ukraine is the place where the drones birthplace, more or less, in this world at the moment, and the development is very rapid. So that certainly brings also difficulties. So that you have old established systems, and then you have systems that renew themselves, if not every year, but let's say within a few years, there's a new generation that needs to be implemented.
In drone business, it's not few years, it's few weeks.
Okay.
What we see at the moment, because the point with the drones is that the both sides are changing the frequency, which means of the drones, which means that it's very difficult also to have the countermeasures. But I also believe that it's just a question of time when we see that there will be a possibility also in a large scale to take down the drones. As long as the drones are using the GPS signal or something which guides them, you can affect them. And of course, on the other side, of the offensive side, you will also see in one moment that the drones will be so smart that you just give the target and then they will lose the GPS signal and just go for the target with infrared or something.
Right, some autonomous system.
So this develops or evolves so quickly that we don't know today what will be in 1 year. And this is why also my message to our army has been that yes, we have to be ready and we have to train our people to use the drones and to counter measures. But at the end of the day, you cannot have a huge pile of stocks or a huge number of drones in your stocks because when you need them, they are already outdated.
Obsolete.
So you cannot buy today iPhone 15 or the newest Nokia and hope that in 5 years it will be still good. No, it's not. So we see that from time to time we have new equipment available. So this is also with the drones. So still, good old steel is something which will be needed and that people will be needed, because even when you affect your enemy, you need to control the territory. So, and to control the territory, you need people on the ground. So this is why everything around the battlefield is important, but at the end of the day, you need people to control it.
Right. That's very good. It's very good. The Estonian way of doing that, do you then gather these companies together? Somehow, are there a list of these companies who work together in these issues in order so we could exchange some data about the companies who are seeking for partners? How do you organize that here so that there could be a matching of companies and kind of they would then sniff each other if that could be a possible working relationship?
Yes, of course, and I believe this is the only way, to have some kind of umbrella organization in Estonia, when you talk about defense industry, there is a defense industry and defense and space industry association. And they have been very active. So yes, even when I've been visiting different exhibitions all around the world, in Saudi Arabia or in London or in Poland, which are the biggest one in these regions, then yes, our companies are together in these exhibitions.
Right.
Of course, some of them are already so big that they will take their own stand.
Right.
But most of them are still merged to one stand. Estonian booth, yes. And then this is the way, to have this cooperation. And of course, I know that the association is always ready to host also the visitors and to say what we are doing and then to find partners.
Right. The EU money is a big issue here, of course, since that is, as we said in the beginning, it is very fastly evolving and the sums and the targets are moving. How have you coordinated the EU money funds, getting those funds into these companies, into the country?
So there is this European Defence Investment Fund, so EDIF, and we have, from the ministry's side, we are helping the companies to also to apply, to make applications, and also to give some funding to that what they need to apply, and when they are successful to get also this money. So this is very, let's say, a concrete measure for that when they need something. But at the end of the day, for us it is important to get the knowledge to the association. Of course, we cannot reach all the companies, but we will get the information to the association, and then association will then share also among its companies.
Yeah.
So this is the easiest way. But of course, for me, it has always been very important to be present in different exhibitions and different possibilities, because when there is a possibility for a minister to open some doors for our companies, so this is part of my job, to open the doors and then let the companies already make the next steps.
Right. So that sounds you're very active in that personally, and as a country, you also try to support the starting of these companies getting into the business. And what about cooperation? Because cooperation within the EU funds is very important. Do you have knowledge about how much foreign cooperation you have with these companies today?
Well, when you take the Estonian defense industry companies, then many have already, of course, investments also from abroad. The biggest probably is Milrem, who is one of the biggest defense industry companies here in Estonia, and they have the biggest investment from United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
From the H Group, and there are many others, but still, I believe this is so far the biggest what we have seen, but also now there are new companies coming who are also already growing very rapidly. So they started from a couple of millions of revenue. Last year they had one company had already 30 million. This year's estimation is to go to 50. So the growth is very rapid. But also we understand why, because the products they are producing are very, very needed in Ukraine, and they've managed to find also financing from abroad to the products. So it's let's say, I would say that it's two-way traffic. One is to find financing for the products to send to Ukraine, for instance, or find new clients. And the other thing is to find new investors. And of course, there have been cases where we see that some foreign investors want to buy already some startups. And now is the question to these owners that do they want to sell or not? So do they want to increase the level and the price of the company, or they're ready to sell? So there are many these cases also on the table. But of course, as we are active on exhibitions also, then we are more known and known, but of course the big players are still, affecting the market heavily. So when we take the Nexter or Rheinmetall or Leonardo, then these very big players are still looking also for the options either to expand their revenue or their product line, or just to buy someone the small who might be the competitor to them. So it's as always in business.
Exactly. There is nothing special, no secrets in the way. No.
The defense business is still the same. It acts, or it has the same rules as any other business. So the only restriction is that most of the banks do not want to finance the growth of these companies.
Okay, you still have that. You can still see that is the case, even though
we see that globally, that still banks do not want to give the money to lethal products. So you need to find private investors, and this is why also we've seen that the defense products will be quite expensive, because when you don't have good capitalization and when you don't have good money with the good interests, then that means that the price will go up, because the capital is expensive.
Which is then paid by the taxpayers
at the end of the day.
Country.
Yes, and this is why I really do not understand why the banks are not financing this kind of business.
Maybe this is a typical example of an issue where this was an industry non grata since the fall of Soviet Union very much, and we didn't need it, and now all of a sudden.
Yeah, but as you see, it was a mistake that we don't need it, because that just go back 40 years. In 1984, 1985, 1983, so these years, like 40 years back, European countries invested to defense 3, 4, 5%
of GDP.
Yeah. After the collapse of Soviet Union, we see that it dropped to 1%. So, and this gap, what we have seen in last 30 years, this has brought us to the situation that we cannot send enough ammunition to Ukraine. We do not have enough tanks, etc. Because there was a hope that Russia will be a normal state. We said all the time that, especially after, the former FSB worker Putin was not even elected but nominated as a president, and then we said that, it will not happen. And now we are in this situation that we see that Russia is still investing 7% of their GDP to defense, 30% of the state budget to defense, and we are still not there where we have to be. So this is why one thing is taxpayer money, but the other thing is that the industry also has to get more access to the finance market.
Yes. I think very, very good words, and I think a lot of people in Finland know today that how right you were with these issues, and I think this is something. We are maybe embarrassment is the wrong word, but I mean at least we must say we have to rectify our view on many things, and we have done that. But maybe to come back to just how you put it together, concluded the defense industry is a very normal business when it comes to equity. It's normal business when it comes to capital requirements, and it is a business that we definitely need here, and we can work with that. And at the end of the day, at least where we produce those products, it creates wealth and jobs for the local people.
I will just give you one example. The firearms what the Estonian army is using, R20 from LMT, a US company, only because of the Estonian procurement. This LMT company created 200 jobs in one small city in Iowa. So this just shows you that this is something we do.
Yeah.
And this creates jobs, and then why not to create these jobs in Finland or in Estonia? Here. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to that are we free and independent or not? Because unfortunately, our eastern neighbor has been and will stay hostile towards his neighbors. So when we want to be free, when we want to enjoy all these freedoms of free movement, free business making, free speech, freedom of speech, etc. So when we all want to enjoy these values, or we value these, freedoms, then we need to stand for these values. And to stand, you need to be ready to defend yourself. That means a deterrence message. And this is why, it is so important to acknowledge that the governments will never, I hope at least, that will never be, the producers or the industry will, or take over the industry. So the industry is ready to produce what the countries and the people need. It's not about that, the government needs something. It's about protecting our people. And to protect and defend our people, we need means. Unfortunately, Russia is in a war economy. We're not.
Right, exactly. In order to continue with the ESG, as we talk about that, the environment, the social and governance development, we need the D to be strong here, the defense. And that helps us. And I think to what you said there and said about the democracy, defending it and so on, I think it's very good to conclude with that. And I thank you for your ideas, your thoughts, and your views on the future cooperation between our countries and companies. Thank you, Hanno.
Thank you very much. And we always hope for the best. And when the closest allies are not working together and closest neighbors are not working together, then it's very difficult to work together also with the allies who are not so close. So this is why I believe this triangular, that Estonia, Finland, Sweden, we have to stick together, and we have the same mentality, we have the same approach to the business, and to be very practical. So this is why I believe there is a lot to do still, not only in every other sector, but also in defense.
Very, very good. And seeing the pin on your chest here, maybe we could conclude with saying Slava Ukraini here.
Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraini. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was a pleasure.